cherry stem comes off with it.
So these are Dolgo, I think D-O-L-G-O maybe, crab apples. They're bigger and sweeter than any other kind of crab apple I've ever tasted. They are still very sweet tart, but they are more cherry sized. If you can see that, they are more cherry sized, and they're delicious. So this is the only tree of this variety we have on our property right now. We plan to plant some more. They also bloom beautifully. If we did not want to pick them through the course of the year, the wild birds and such would eat them through the winter, so they're just a good, productive tree. But they're a sweet tart that I think tastes pleasant, instead of if you have bitten into some crab apples that just make you want to spit and pucker instantly. They're not that tart. Don't have that many, but late enough in the fall, you notice the leaves are all falling off as we pick, because most of the leaves are falling off most of the trees. Not too bad for a little tree.
No. It would take a lot of them to fill a bucket.
So there's our harvest. In a few years there'll be a lot more, hopefully.
Like it.
This is our second crush of apples. Some of these are our apples from our orchard.
A gallon of juice.
I think you get a few gallons if you turn all of it into juice.
Push it down a little bit. There you go.
That's going to poop out some nice stuff.
Yeah, and that's what you want it to do, is just crush them, mash them, not chop them.
Yeah.
So this is an experiment with our brand new cider pressing crusher. This is a tool I was going to get anyway, as our apple orchard gets more productive over time.
Don't put any pressure on it, because it won't work right if you do. It has to feed them in there itself. And I only know this because I've run it with a wood chipper, the same thing. And they will take them in as it's ready.
This year, as you guys saw if you watched our apple harvest video, we did get apples off our orchard, but not a massive amount. This whole bucket and one of these other boxes here came from a neighbor who shared their plenteous harvest off of their very, very old, 80-something-year-old probably, tree with us. And we've done lots of things with apples, but this is the first time we've ever made cider. And thank you to Micah and I's parents. They purchased some canning equipment, I guess, for some of our sisters who live on the other side of the country, and then called us and said they thought, to be fair, they ought to get us something too, which neither of us were worried about them being fair, but that was very generous of them, so thank you, Mama and Papa. So when Micah had time...
in the future, lifting this up would help with the mess and the spillage.
Well, it seems like I didn't get it quite centered, because nothing's spilled on this side.
Sure, the chickens will clean it up.
Yeah. Shoo, Henna. Hey, get your girlfriend out of there.
Go on, Nana. Go on. I know. I'm your favorite guy.
Anyway, so we're going to see, I bet this is going to make a very small amount of cider, but this is our experiment.
Hey, Henna, back up. Thank you.
Good girl. Hey, shoo. This is not a chicken operation. Shoo. Everything just feeds into this hopper. And it's got, let it run clear out for a set place so I can show what the grinder blades do. it's designed to grind and crush the apples so that we can get the juice out. So it's doing a very, very rough, you can see it's kind of a wide blade, it's not like a knife, because we want this texture, not apple sauce, not like running it through our food processor. And we could put a 5-gallon bucket under here. All the chickens want to be involved. Scram, ladies. But I think we have little enough to go straight into our actual cider press. So we're going to see how this goes. So now we are actually getting to the part of starting to press. And the instructions say to
press it.
Yeah, you can. Say to just go down slowly. Don't force it, and don't don't put like a cheater bar in and torque it. It just kind of needs some time. I know somebody had said, if you go for a bit and it seems to quit pressing, if you just like give it 5 minutes to let all the juice. There we can see the juice starting to come out.
So I'm starting to get some resistance as well.
Starting to flow out there.
Yeah, let it set for just a second, Micah. Is what they said. Just go a little bit at a time.
Especially once you really meet some resistance, if you give it a little time, then it has time to press out.
I don't know if it's right, but I'm just looking when it stops like flowing out, and then I give it a little more of a turn.
That seems right. I think I better go grab a gallon jar because I think we are going to overflow that.
We might. It's squishing more than I thought out already.
Mm-hmm.
I did this once before as a kid, but I don't really remember how much got out of it.
So the long-term goal here, as you can tell, this is our first trial experiment. A lot of the videos I do are things that one or the other of us has been doing for decades. This is the very first cider making attempt for both of us, so you're getting to come along and watch us learn a new skill. Anyway, the long-term goal is to not only be able to make hopefully plenty of cider from our trees as they become more productive over the years to drink fresh, but to be able to let it ferment and make apple cider vinegar, which is something we use a lot of in cooking and preserving food and all kinds of things. That's one of the things I end up buying a good bit of because we use a lot of apple cider vinegar. So if we can make our own, that would be wonderful. So that's the hope in the future. None of this small batch is going to be turned into vinegar. I'm sure we will drink it all fresh with no problem, but it's working out nicely to be a good little test run of the whole setup. And as we get finished here, I have to say this equipment worked really well. I've never used any other cider presses or grinders, but this setup, I have various canning and food preserving tools like our Victoria strainer that I use for running tomatoes and apples and berries and such through, and it is a wonderful tool that I wouldn't want to be without. This stuff works even smoother and is way easier to clean out and clean up when we were done. It was really easy to just hose everything out. Everything's smooth. There's no little nooks and crannies, really. It's just everything washes out quite easily, and it's a very, very speedy cleanup as well. So I don't know if that's exactly how everybody's cider presses in the whole world work, or if this one's better than some, but it was a highly reviewed option, which is why I picked it, and it seemed sturdy and like it would last a lifetime, and it has also turned out to be easy to use and easy to clean, so that's exciting. I look forward to both my brother and our household using this for many, many years into the future, and we'll probably still be pressing apples just fine after we are all gone. So that's a little bit about our first run here on creating cider by ourselves.
If you want, I'll just tilt this back slightly so it stops straining.
Before we lose that much.
You can go back further, Micah, as long as you don't come over your edge on the back side.
Smells good.
Smell like apples?
It does.
Interesting.
Crazy, I know.
So is there any amount of torque where you want to stop?
Seems to me,
I think maybe as hard as you, I mean, of course that would vary with people, but it seemed like it said, as hard as you can hand turn it, just don't put a cheater bar on it and really pry.
Because it's got a lot of resistance now, but I could definitely keep turning it with these.
I think you probably want to keep turning it, don't you think?
I would think so. I don't know how
I think
much
so.
you can go. I mean, as long as you don't break that collar on the top.
I mean, that's going to take a lot. And those Acme threads can take a lot.
And I think the point of it is to be able to put a substantial amount of pressure.
I would say you're right there, Micah. I mean, that's a lot of force. And that's a cast bar, and if it breaks, it's just going to shatter.
I can weld it back together, or make a stronger one if it breaks. I'd just make a new one. Out of the photo. I want to buy another pair of these.
Do we need to leave it sit and kind of rest a little bit as more juice is still making its way out?
Well, that's what I saw on the video, is what people did.
That doesn't seem like hardly anything substantial coming out now.
Yeah, no.
You want to tip that forward into here again, and then we'll
I don't think.
call that
I think
good.
it's done. Well, I don't know. That's a little bit. That would be a swallow. It is still coming out.
Not quite a gulp, but a swallow.
Yeah, I'm seeing little amounts still seeping through the sides. It might almost be 2 swallows.
So that's a gulp.
So do we back it off and take that out?
Actually, it got looser.
Okay, so we just wait and let it think and then let it do a little more.
But I mean, the juice in the middle has to work its way to the edge. I don't know how long that takes, but...
And is there, I don't remember anyone else doing this, but is there any benefit to spinning it back and like stirring the apple pulp up and then re-crushing it?
We could try it and find out, and then we would know.
So like the center gets to the outside?
I have no idea.
I don't either. It seems like it might be worth a shot to see what it does.
If we do it now, we'll know, and then if it doesn't work, we'll know for the future, I guess.
You grab like a big stainless steel spoon to stir it up kind of thing. Well, we can save you all the trouble of this little experiment. This was not worthwhile. I'm glad we tried it, so we knew the answer, but trying to stir up the apple pulp and repress it, as you will see here, we got maybe one more mouthful of juice crushed out of them. So that is not something we will be doing again. One single good press, turning it down slowly, letting the juice work its way out, is plenty. And doing it a second time doesn't do anything useful. So if you want to skip that little experiment yourself, we tried it for you.
Yeah, it's oozing up here.
Yeah.
Swallow.
Maybe like a teaspoon or so.
Yeah, I'm losing the pressure. Let me lean it forward, and if there is anything, we'll give it to you, but I don't think there is.
No, it was only a couple drops. Okay. So.
It's a one-shot deal.
That's nice.
And the crusher doesn't work the same doing it either. Because it's already smashed, it tries to come up the sides.
I wonder if I can just lift that whole thing out and have it stay inside.
Yeah,
I think
so.
you can. If we had it
Then I
compacted.
go over there and just knock it out for the chickens.
Yeah.
It's probably less likely to now that we stirred it up.
This could also go in the compost or our worm bins or all kinds of things, but these creatures like it, so since we don't have a lot, we're just letting them eat it.
Take it over to the hose.
The ladies are molting, so a lot of them look a little scruffy, but that's Butterscotch in the front, then Henna, then Irish that we're not sure if he has a name or he's staying around, then Ruffina, and I see more hens coming running from all over. There comes Hazel, Ghost, and that's how much of a gallon we got from the first container full. I think it's like 3.5 gallon hopper, something like that. Made that much cider.
I'm going to set it up for that. But I agree, doing it this way, you're
Just starting to get pressure, it looks like. Oh, and there the juice is just starting to flow. Having done just a small batch once now, I have to say that making cider is one of the easier food processing processes I've ever done. It's very easy to turn a handle with running them through a grinder, and very easy to turn the crank on this and squish all the cider out. So that is a very, very easy way to turn a large amount of apples, if you have them, especially ones that are bruised or windfall, etc., into something else very useful. So there we go, about 2/3 of a gallon of juice from approximately 36 pounds of apples. They're not juice, cider. Okay, so what do we all think?
Pretty good apple cider.
it's very good. It's creamy.
It's actually thick.
Yeah.
You know, liquid but thick.
The bugs that get in there are adding a little more protein.
You don't have bugs in there.
I do too. I got one right there.
I don't think that's a bug. Let me see. It's a piece of just the, like the apple blossom end.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
I think that might be like the best cider I've ever had.
You can't get it any fresher than that.
No, that's very, very delicious. So, thanks for both of you guys helping us make it.
Thanks to Mom and Pop for buying it.
Absolutely. Thanks for spending your valuable time with us,
I hope you learned something interesting and useful.
or found something beautiful here.